I'm back. More pedals. I've got an envelope filter this time and a tremolo. Don't use tremolo much on bass. Much underappreciated, much underestimated, especially if you want to pretend your bass is a big guitar and play more than one note at a time, and I've got really into doing that. So, that's just the MXR bass envelope filter. I'm still sussing that out. You'll know if you've used envelopes, they're very touch sensitive. They're quite curious pedals to dial in. And particularly, I'm trying to use it in places with other pedals, and I'm trying to end up with settings on these pedals that are fairly universal, that I can use them in different places and different songs without them sounding cliched, and I compare them up with other pedals to make other sounds. So using, for instance, if you put a bit of dirt before the envelope, you change how the envelope works, and also if you put dirt after the envelope, you change it. So the envelope is a particularly complex one in how it interacts with everything else. So then, I can switch to this, which goes... So that is the subspace dirt pedal into the Hummingbird tremolo. And what I've got done on the subspace, which is kind of weird, is I've got lots of the parallel, so actually clean sound, passing through unaffected, and then I've got a very small amount of gain on the distortion part of it. Tone slightly tilted on that. I can't remember which way the tone knob's configured on that, but anyway, I've got the tone slightly past 12 o'clock. Then I've got the bass rolled off most of the way on the dirty signal, and the treble boosted. So what it's doing, if I take it, let's take the Hummingbird off, and you can hear what it's doing. If I actually turn my bass back up, hang on, I've just turned on a phaser by accident. So that's the Stingray on its own. So it's just adding a tiny bit of grindy, gritty tightness. And as I dig in more, it is growling a lot more. Yeah. And then, so that's helping the tremolo speak, because this is the tremolo on its own. But this is it with the subspace. Which is pretty cool. Just the joy of a Root 5 power chord. Yeah, that's all the interesting pedally stuff that's going on that song. It goes into, well actually when I go into the chorusy bit, if I can remember it, it's just tremolo off. Something, the tap dancing of this is difficult at the best of times, but when you find yourself standing in the wrong place because you're trying to work a camera and you sort of, yeah, even harder. But I'll get there, and in the meantime we're all learning something. Well, I am, I hope you are. Now then, this, something I need to do with these pedals, this is a trick if you knock the knobs that I got from Timmy C, is to put O-rings over them so they're underneath all the pots. So it's much harder to turn the pots so they don't get knocked. It's not a problem with most of these pedals, but this Hummingbird, there's a level knob with quite a lot of boost, which is a bit close to the foot switch when you're sort of diving for it. I also think I need to put some sort of thing across the middle for me to rest my foot on for tapping, and maybe a little ledge here because this ankle is a bit knackered from breaking it years ago on my mountain bike, so it doesn't move as much as it should. So some ergonomic challenges there to deal with. How long have we been going? Not too long. Yeah, so this is another gnarly sound. This is, I believe, is it that one to that one? That's that one. Is that one? That one. So overdrive. This one. So this is overdrive into distortion. We're still keeping the clean parallel. I think this riff is good enough for me to play it right. Octaves matter, just got to get the hang of them. And then taking that off and going to this sort of warmer overdrive sound. I mean, obviously things don't sound terribly warm when you've got the horn cranked up like that. I will do demos with I've just remembered I was starting to say in the previous video, which I didn't say in this video, this is not mic'd with a fancy like room mic or anything pretty like you use in a studio. It is mic'd with the biggest Rode camera top mic, which is an expensive mic. It's a few £100. It's very accurate. It actually sounds quite like the sound in the room. It doesn't sound particularly pretty. It does go pretty low and high and it's pretty flat. So I felt it was quite a good, honest representation of what's happening in the room. It's up there on the camera, so you know that's what it sounds like there in this room. I didn't say that on the last video. I should have done. So then overdrive, like I say, the high frequency driver adds a lot more brightness than you would normally have on such dirty sounds, but in the context of this project I'm filling the space where a guitarist etc. would be, as you can probably tell from the way I'm about to play now. If I play the right notes. And then this has got quite a fun little outro that it goes to after another of those choruses. I might have to play the chorus before, otherwise I'll be in the wrong key. I'll get confused. So hang on, let me preset what I need for that. There we go. And then I've got to do the two-footed stomp. The thing about electric bass is they sustain forever, so that's something I've got to figure out for things where I want them to fade out. I guess the trusty hand on the bridge saddles does that. So that sound there is the subspace into a fairly subtle chorus with treble slightly boosted on it, and then into the tremolo, which is just a... What a nice sound. Actually, now I'm thinking, did I decide to take the chorus off? Let's try it without the chorus. Maybe without the chorus is better, it's more stark. No, maybe it's better without chorus. Cast your votes, chorus or not on that. It's interesting how there's that sort of artistic decision where chorus adds this colour and this warmth and this... Chorus I wouldn't say is particularly psychedelic, but it adds a certain something, whilst the tremolo on its own, particularly with these quite stark voicings, yeah, maybe that's better. So, what happens next on my list? I've basically got a set list here of stuff. There's words too, but you know, well, you know, there'll be finished stuff eventually, and if anyone cares, they can listen to it. I just have to do it because I have to do it. Anyway, so this one is. Oh yes, so this one. This I'm actually doing a similar thing sound-wise, but we've got the reverb on, and then this other bit's got that. I think I'm using that fuzz on it. I think that's all. Yeah. So I've got a riff that goes like this. And then I come to, if I can remember it, it's amazing. Red light fever. It afflicts us all. Yeah, it's not like that. Then I've got the joyous. Such a difficult change, got to get back to this. Yeah, and then that fill. More wood shedding required, more practicing. And then it goes to this, which is quite pretty. So this is subspace, chorus, tremolo, hummingbird tremolo, reverb. Yeah, then back to the, unsurprisingly. Is that enough for now? I think so. Have I used all the pedals yet? Yes. But there's other combinations, so I'll see if there's another video in this. If not, I'll be back with something different. Thank you for watching my meandering round of pedal boards and some original music through this barefaced Big Twin 3. These two machinists and this array of other equipment. It's quiet though, isn't it? Good, the only thing, well, I can hear the fan. on this elderly amp. But hurrah! Yay for good power supplies and successful grounding. And I've actually had to split quite a lot of these power cables, so they're using these Voodoo Lab ground lifted splitters. So one of the sides of the Y cable on the ground lifted splitter is grounded and the other side isn't grounded, and then it has to be on adjacent pedals and they sort of ground through each other so you don't end up with earth loops, ground loops, which thankfully works. And none of the pedals here draw much power apart from the reverb draws the most and the POG the next most, and then, oh actually the tuner draws a bit. I don't think the loop draws that much, but they're the digital pedals and everything else is analog, because I wanted to try and... I partly wanted to do everything analog because I just thought it would stop me getting carried away with pedals. But with my habit of playing more than one note at a time, I got a bit stuck with octavers and realising that they just wouldn't track. So hence the POG 2, and then that's opened up some more potential in ideas, especially in the absence of a guitar man or lady. Anyway, thank you. I'll see you next time. I've been Alex from Barefaced, doing pedal things.